of course, I didn't want to take his last match away from him. But at the end of the day, I think, a lot of the players in the similar situation would have done the same thing, prioritizing their body. And I still stand by making the right call.
How did he take it? How was he?
Obviously disappointed because, it's his last match. But, yeah, what a champion. So I think that hopefully he'll play in the Olympics and have another farewell there.
So it was astonishing.
Oh, I'm sure she didn't mean it.
Please take your seats quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tennis Weekly with Joel, Kim and Chris. On today's Wimbledon Day 7 catch-up,
Emma Raducanu bows out to qualifier Lulu Sun.
Alcaraz survives another dangerous challenger.
And Coco Gauff falls to fellow American Emma Navarro in straight sets.
Chris, today is the 7th of July and we are here to catch up on Day 7 from Wimbledon at Tennis Weekly HQ. Today we have seen a myriad of interesting results here at SW19 amid a ton of wet weather hitting us, with showers suspending play on the outside courts all over the place. We saw the last Brit in the singles, Emma Raducanu, fall to qualifier Lulu Sun, who continues her dream run throughout the draw. And meanwhile, my pick for the title, Coco Gauff, is also out at the hands of compatriot Emma Navarro, meaning we've had the top two seeds in the ladies singles falling out in the space of the last 2 days. We've also had, sadly, retirements on court one for Madison and Grigor Dimitrov. Meanwhile, Donna Vekic has fought her way through to her first Wimbledon quarterfinal. Carlos Alcaraz came up against a spirited opponent, Humbert, but won in 4. And Jannik Sinner is also still going strong, dispatching a very tired Ben Shelton today. So loads has happened today on what traditionally was a day of rest here at SW19, but no longer. It's all been happening today.
No rest. And Joel is having a rest though, so we should say that.
He's on a day off. We've let him have a day off, and I'm back. I haven't quit the podcast, so I am back.
She hasn't quit. She's back. In fact, Kim has demanded that we go up to the rooftop. She wants to see what it's like up here.
I was very jealous when you said you were up on the highest bit of Wimbledon, level with the roof of Centre Court, and so I demanded to come up here. And I have to say,
we can see it all.
It's beautiful. The glistening red lights of the London skyline in the distance is super nice. And actually, last night I was up at the top of the Sky Garden, so I'm trying right now to see the Sky Garden where I was about 24 hours ago.
I can see the Shard for sure, but that's about it. Maybe some Canary Wharf, that might be all the way over there, but it's lovely up here. We've also got the sounds of ABBA. We're not really sure why. It might be a Wimbledon house party, which you might have to go to afterwards.
Yeah, there's some glowing lights, pink and green, and so it does seem like there's some house party sort of outside the grounds, and we heard strains of Dancing Queen.
If you do hear anything, listeners, that is why. But Kim, you're back, you've been around the grounds, and you've got stories to tell us.
Well, I had a lunch next to Sabine Lisicki, which is quite exciting.
Former Wimbledon finalist.
2013?
The year
2011? 2013?
I think
2014.
I think
10
14.
years ago.
The year the Bartley won it, I think.
So, she was having lunch, and I bumped into your favourite, Daniil Hantakova.
Oh, did you? Where was she? I've not seen her yet.
She was wearing the most beautiful peach-coloured coat.
She's a very stylish lady.
Yeah, I really like the colour. It was great.
Well, maybe we can get that for when we do our social clips. You could ask to borrow it.
And that's when Morgan Riddle needs to get involved in
she needs to style us. We'll have to reach out.
But we did hear from Emma Raducanu at the very start of the episode on the mixed doubles debacle. Fiasco debacle, whatever you want to call it. She did have to, respond to the media in the press conference just, this evening.
Mostly about that than the match, wasn't it?
To be fair, most of the questions were about the mixed doubles. Judy Murray's reaction, which she claimed not to have known what Judy Murray had said on Twitter, that kind of sarcastic comment she left. So.
She was well briefed, I think. Emma did a good job there.
Lots of media training for Emma with that one. But, let's talk about what we did see from Emma on the court, the match that she did end up playing, which was against Lulu Sun. But, sadly for Emma, she is out. She did lose in 3 sets 6-2, 5-7, 6-2. The scoreline was for Lulu Sun, who is a qualifier. She's ranked at about 120 odd in the world, but
Yes.
she's qualified through. She's now won 7 matches in a row to reach the quarterfinals here at Wimbledon. And I mean, you were at this match, Chris.
Yes.
Her level was inspired today.
I was blown away, and I think she kind of blew everyone away on centre court. She was hitting the ball so hard, so clean. She's a lefty, had great shape on all of her shots, and she was making angles as well as mixing the power, moving forward beautifully. 52 winners, Kim. I mean, I've not seen that sort of a stat in a while. And for Emma to stay competitive actually in that match and take that second set, I think it showed a remarkable amount of fight on her part. I think she definitely weathered the storm at that point. And then obviously there was an incident where she did actually take a tumble. We know that she had a wrist injury. That is the reason for pulling out of the mixed doubles, some soreness. The wrist wasn't too much of an issue. The back was an issue today, as well as potentially the ankle when she went over, and she was treated for primarily the back. But I mean, it was business as usual after that point, and I'm not sure it affected the match particularly. What do you think, Kim?
Yeah, she said in press that she had a bit of stiffness in the wrist, hence pulling out the mixed doubles, but also I think some stiffness in the back, which obviously then wasn't helped by slipping over in that third set, receiving the treatment.
I was so worried when I saw it, Kim, because I think she stayed down, and when a player stays down, you tend to think it's because they can't get up. I think rather it was a case that she was concerned more about if she got up, would she do more damage, especially when it's a back thing, because that's obviously you don't want to twist your spine funny at all. But I mean, this is something I was going to ask you. The umpire made her kind of get up from the court where she kind of fell and then go back to the chair to receive the treatment. Do we think that's in the rules? Because I was quite surprised by that you can't receive. I've never seen someone receive treatment actually on the court where they fell.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just. I mean, obviously, if the player was that injured, where they wouldn't be able to get from where they'd fallen to the chair. I suppose if that was that bad, you'd be like stretchered off.
Yes,
but
you would. It wasn't that bad, so we don't have to know.
They don't want like the physios kneeling on the court,
damaging the court. It might be a grass thing.
Protocol.
Listeners, do tell us if you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think though that the slight physical issues that Emma had today maybe drastically affected the result. I think Lulu was the deserved winner with the way she was
Definitely.
playing.
And if she had lost that match, it would have been because the nerves got to her and she was able to stay completely true to her game. She hit so big off both sides. And the question I have to ask him is, can she actually win this thing?
Could she do an Emma Raducanu?
Exactly.
What Emma did in 2021.
The first player to ever win as a qualifier, and a few years later, is it possible it will happen again?
I mean, that would be going some, I have to say.
Am I looking ahead too far?
Maybe. I think one match at a time, but she certainly comes
in
across
there.
very relaxed.
Yeah.
This was her first time on centre court, and
seize the moment.
And even impressed. She just seemed like she was enjoying herself and not putting too much pressure on herself. So, I mean, why not? Because this side of the draw has opened up quite nicely. Coco Gauff, the second seed, she has lost today as well in straight sets to Emma Navarro.
Your pick, was that?
She was my pick for the women's title.
Well, she went further than Sabalenka, my pick. So
that is true. But I mean, Emma Navarro, the number 19 seed, she took out Naomi Osaka in round 2, and she's backed up that win, twice now by kind of coming through against Gauff here. Straight sets, all-American clash, just over 1 hour. I mean, I wasn't expecting Gauff to have... I mean, I did think, okay, we could maybe be on for a bit of an upset, but I wouldn't have said it would have been a straight sets. But Gauff just didn't seem like the usual Coco Gauff out there today.
The forehand was kind of the problem again, unfortunately. I think we've talked about it so much. It still is an issue in those key moments. And unless the technique is changed, I do think it will always be a problem. She obviously won the US Open, and I think when she is striking the forehand a lot better and being more aggressive, it works. But I do think when it gets tight, when she's in trouble, that is when she doesn't have the faith in it that she needs. We saw that at the Australian Open against Sabalenka, where she had kind of those opportunities, and she missed probably some of the biggest misses I've seen on the forehand side in quite some time. And that was a bit of a similar story at some of the key moments of this match. For Coco, though, it is a much better result than last year. Where she lost in the first round, and then that did actually sort of springboard her into the success that happened in the US hardcourt swing. So there are positives that she has got further at Wimbledon. A fourth round is a good result. And in my opinion, we talked about Lulu Sun playing inspired tennis. Emma Navarro is playing inspired tennis at Wimbledon. I'd never seen her play before. First time I saw her play was against Osaka. And the winners to unforced errors ratio was fantastic. It was clean. It was beautifully played. She's volleying well. It's all court tennis. And I'm a fan. I'd never... Have you seen much of her?
Not too much. I did watch a bit of her match, I think, against Sabalenka at the French. I think was it against Sabalenka? She lost, I think. I think that was straight sets, although she has actually beaten Sabalenka in Indian Wells earlier in the year, which is her first win over, I think, second-ranked player in the world. But I don't know, she gives me kind of old school vibes, Emma Navarro. I don't know if it's just sort of her demeanour or there's just something about her.
She belongs on a US grass court, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
And the former Flushing Meadows side.
She is in her, career best kind of Grand Slam, at the moment, like reaching the quarterfinals. She's got Jasmine Paolini next. I mean, you actually saw Coco Gauff's father going out to scout Paolini keys.
Yes.
Bit premature though, because it's irrelevant now. Hey?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll find out something for the future, but he was trying to find out if it started and where he should go. And then later in the day, Brad Gilbert almost knocked me over as he was running to get to Coco's match. So you've got to watch your back out there, Kim. You might run into...
It's dog eat dog.
It is.
But yeah, Paolini came through against Madison Keys. I mean, this was a cracking match, I have to say, and very sadly ended by Madison Keys retiring at 5-all in the third set. She did sustain an injury to her left leg, sort of when serving for the match, actually, in the third set. She had to go off court for a medical timeout.
And she was
at
up
5-4.
5-2 when she was serving for it.
Exactly.
And when it first happened.
And so just awful scenes, really. Like, she was crying at the end, just couldn't carry on because she could barely move, really. And so,
So
the
sad.
inevitable happened. Really, really, really unfortunate.
She's such a nice person when you speak to her. She's very positive, and I think she's had a lot of injury concerns, and she was going to put this one away. I really do think that she had turned this match around. So
yeah. She had that momentum as, the third set. She really...
And you would back her to serve it out one of those two times that she had, and obviously very hampered by the injury, and she wasn't able to complete the match. And I think for Paolini, it was also very difficult because this is obviously a result where has she justified her place in this round is a question, really.
I guess so. I mean, you say you think that Keys would have served it out, but in the second set, she was 5-1 up.
And she didn't.
And Paolini came back to take it to a tiebreak. So, Paolini may well have come back anyway. We just don't know. But Paolini, I love her attitude. She's so intense. She's so sort of upbeat. And she really goes for it. And I really feel like there's some kind of, like force with her almost. And I don't know. I just think it's really nice that she's like just having this kind of remarkable, I don't want to say the Renaissance because it's not really a Renaissance. It's sort of like...
What's Renaissance in Italian?
An emergence, I guess. A birth almost. Yeah. Because if you look at her Grand Slam results before 2024, it was like first round, second round in both singles and doubles.
She never won a main draw match at Wimbledon before
exactly.
this. So, I mean, it's very impressive. And I think... what's great is that she's a story that I think the British public will particularly like. She's so likeable. She's such a great energy. And I think that after the French Open, it's just basically taught her that why not? Why can't she do it? And I think it's a bit like Vondrousova, where Vondrousova never had any form on grass coming into that Wimbledon, and then she came away with the title. So 7 winners in 7 Wimbledons. So why not me? I think a lot of players will be asking. Yeah, and that kind of this side of the draw is very, very open. I mean, you could argue that even on the other side, it's a bit open. But we, to complete this lineup on this side of the draw, we do have Donna Vekic as well, who will be playing Lulu Sun. Vekic coming through out on court 2 today against Paola Badosa. I mean, this one was on and off because of the rain. But Vekic did come through 6-4 in the third set. Yes.
And she said that impressed. She was very tired. She'd been here for about 12 hours and she's just glad to have got the win and got it done. But she's had some great wins on grass, Chris, and yet this is her first Wimbledon quarterfinal. We all know her grass court pedigree, but I did ask her, actually impressed, like what it is about what's different this year compared to previous years. You've had some really good results on grass before, but this is your first Wimbledon quarterfinal. So what do you think has been the key difference for you this year at the championships?
I don't know. The only thing that's been different is I played the week before. I did really well in Bad Homburg, made the final. So I was not here the whole week, what I usually do, and that kind of brings up the tension a lot. Last year I was playing really well as well, and I lost in the third round to Vondrousova, who went on to win the title, and that was pretty heartbreaking for me. But yeah, I feel good. I feel good on the grass. It suits my game, and hopefully I can keep winning.
Well, it sounds like Iga Swiatek could learn a lesson from Donna Vekic by playing a warm-up tournament. Sounds like it really helped her, mixing up a bit and kind of not peaking too early in the grass court season, because previously she has, I think, won Nottingham. That's obviously very early in the grass court season, and then getting to the final in Bad Homburg last week clearly kind of was what she needed, to know that she's playing good tennis right now rather than having to rediscover her form at Wimbledon.
And maybe we'd overlooked the fact that she got to the final last week, but I do also think that sometimes, literally playing the week before can mean you come in too tired, you pick up a bit of an injury. So it is a risk, but perhaps it's worked well for her.
She said, I could have slipped, something could have happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, it can work both ways, but I'm really pleased for her. And, she said, she used to train in London, didn't she? So she's quite a sort of dab hand at the grass courts here. So
and the weather. Surely, maybe then she should have known what could have happened here.
Yeah, bringing the the things to pass the time during the rain delays. But she came through against Paula Badosa, who's having a bit of a resurgence here herself, getting to the fourth round here. Had some good wins along the way to get here. But we do have Navarro against Paolini and Sun against Vekic for this side of the draw for the ladies' quarterfinals, and they'll be playing on Tuesday. But let's take a very quick break now. We'll be back in the second half to look at all the men's action from day 7, including Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner both coming through they're still on for that semi-final that we're all awaiting.
I think the qualifiers and qualies in general, it's not the level that you play there. It's not that big of a difference in the main draw. Obviously, the points are different. That's why we're there. But in terms of the tennis, we're not that much far off from the top 100. It's just that little, you have to get far in some tournaments, obviously in the big tournaments, to make that jump. I don't think it's surprising, but at the same time, I wasn't thinking, I'm going to be in the quarterfinals of Wimbledon.
So that was Lulu Sun talking about being a qualifier and the fact that, qualies, they're not a million miles away from the regular tour and the main draw action. It's just,
it's just down the road,
a bit of luck
Roehampton.
Well, yeah, it's not far. It's
we can probably see it
London.
from this roof, Kim.
It's where the ABBA party is.
It is,
all I know.
It's the qualifiers that didn't make it.
We've seen qualifiers coming through before, and it is, it is a lovely story every time we get someone, making a run like Lulu Sun. So,
doing it for the qualifiers.
Long may that continue. But let's have a look at the men's action from the fourth round today. Carlos Alcaraz came through against Hugo Humbert. Chris, you were at this match on centre court. This was the first match up on centre. Carlos coming through in 4 sets, 6-3, 6-4, 1-6, 7-5. What was the story of that third set blip?
Well, I was rolling my eyes at the start of this match because Humbert just wasn't bringing his A game in those big moments. He did have some breakpoint opportunities. In the second set, he didn't take them, and it just felt like he wasn't going to get a set. He wasn't going to do it. And then I think he's a player that does need a bit of help. And Carlos, his level did drop a little bit. And then on return, I think Hugo Humbert was playing fantastically, and Carlos agreed, and we can hear what Carlos thought about that now.
I stayed at a really high level of focus during the whole match. Probably in the third set, it was kind of difficult for me. The second game, low 30 for me. A few points played with a few mistakes from my side. And then he broke my serve, and I think he started to play better and better. It was a certain point that I couldn't find my good read on the serve. I felt like he was reading my serve. He was reading my shots very, very well in every point that we were playing. So it was difficult for me to find the solutions in that moment. But tennis is like this. I had 40 love down in the fourth set, and few serves that I did it pretty well, and saved that game, and it was kind of I increased my tennis, I increased my intensity, and got the win at the end. But really happy that it didn't affect me at all, the third set and the problems that I had in the fourth set, and I stayed really strong mentally.
Yeah, I mean, Humbert was playing some inspired tennis in that third set.
Those lights out returns.
Yeah, and you do just have to kind of stick in there and just stay focused, because chances are you're going to get another opportunity. And I thought Alcaraz did so well to kind of make sure the match didn't go to 5,
well,
like his last match.
Yes, exactly. I think what he does so well, which you could look at it as a positive or a negative, but he almost does a complete factory reset, system wipe of what happened the previous set, and gets on with the next one, which I think can be good, can be bad, because obviously if you had a positive set, you want to build on that. But he really can. I mean, in the French Open final, the same thing. He can completely rebound, which is a great skill to have. The bounce back ability of Carlos Alcaraz in all situations. But I do feel for Humbert in this one, because he did display at times the better level of tennis. He just couldn't sustain it.
Yeah, and that's what separates the champions and the Grand Slam winners from the contenders and the dangerous opponents like Humbert on his day. But Alcaraz will be playing against Tommy Paul, the 12th seed, and Queen's Club champion, of course, in recent times. He won through against Roberto Bautista Agut. This was also out on court 2, so this managed to get done. To be fair,
we thought it might get
rain.
moved, didn't we? There was a decision to be made. It started raining again. Obviously, we'll talk about this in a minute. There was an unfortunate incident again on court number 1. It was definitely the court of the retirements today, and we thought this might get moved in. And then it just so happened that there was a mixed doubles, the only match that hadn't been cancelled for today, then got moved. And maybe they just had in mind, we need a backup.
I think this match would have got moved instead if they hadn't have already started on court 2. And I mean, fortunately,
it was only a few games in.
It did get done because the weather was actually better this evening. But yeah, I think the Marcus Willis doubles match got moved, and they actually did win. I think
they did. Alicia Barnett
and Willis. So that's,
I want to say Barnett and Nichols, but Barnett and Willis. Yeah,
it's difficult. But yes, that's great for the Brits. But Tommy Paul, I think quite a routine win, really. 6-2, 7-6, 6-2. Bautista Agut, not the player he was a few years ago. I mean, he himself is a former Wimbledon semi-finalist, of course.
Yes,
but not quite where he used to be. And Tommy Paul, well, continuing that good run.
It's going to be an interesting clash.
Yeah,
because Alcaraz and Tommy Paul do have history. Tommy Paul has a pretty good record against Alcaraz, and grass is definitely a surface where Tommy Paul feels at home. So that could be a fascinating quarterfinal. I
mean, the other quarterfinal we have on this side of the draw lined up is Daniil Medvedev against Jannik Sinner.
Oh, I mean, you wouldn't think that was a quarterfinal, this time last year.
No, I mean, let's look at Daniil Medvedev. He didn't really have much of a match today because sadly, for, all the crowd on court 1 and Dimitrov fans, Grigor Dimitrov retired about at 5-3 down in the first set. Again, a bit like with
Keys.
Madison Keys, injury sustained during the match. He slipped, I think, in the 5th game, and then had to,
Because he was up.
He was up. He was 3-love up.
And he played so well against
really
Monfils. Previous round, you've got to feel for Grigor, especially at this stage of his career, having this sort of an incident. I mean, for Medvedev, the positive on his side, it's never obviously positive when someone has to retire, and it's not the way he'd want to win, but he had a very tricky schedule coming into this, playing long sets, very kind of choppy matches. He had to come back 2 days in a row, multiple rain delays. He's done very quickly. He can rest up before he plays next. But, I mean, do we really know how well Medvedev's playing at this tournament? Because it's very hard to know. He's just doing a good job of getting through and, I guess, not slipping.
Yeah, I mean, you should just stay upright. Don't fall over and you'll be fine. Yeah, it is hard to know his form. And he obviously, he's kind of got a bit of a free pass into the quarterfinal here, but I'm sure he'll be relishing the chance to play Jannik Sinner in the quarterfinal because, well, Sinner, he's the top seed here. Many are tipping him for the title.
I think we are, aren't we? No, you're not. You're tipping Djokovic.
I'm still going Djokovic.
Well, he's still in the tournament.
But yeah, he's still here. We'll see. But Jannik Sinner, I thought he was a bit Djokovic-esque today, actually, because...
Did he have an injury that he healed during the match?
I just feel like maybe he's becoming the new Djokovic in the sense that, Ben Shelton was really throwing everything he had at him in that third set. He was a break-up, Sinner clawed it back. He had set points, Sinner saved them. Sinner, preventing the match from kind of going any further, getting it done in 3 sets. And it just, it's those sort of classic... I guess, Djokovic-esque moments, where you sort of think, oh, the opponent's got a glimmer of opportunity, and then they're just, stamped out, and winning with, more efficiency that way. And yeah, it was 6-2, 6-4, 7-6 in the end. Sinner playing very, very well. And the first 2 sets, really, I think, Ben Shelton, he's played a lot of tennis. He's played every day this week. And I think you could tell, a bit of a slow start and very comfortable for Sinner in those first 2 sets. And it would have been fun if the match had gone to 4, but I do think Sinner would have come through. I was never in any doubt that Sinner would be the winner.
I think when he was up a break, there was a lot of noise. A lot of people were looking at their phones on centre court and saying, ooh, this could be interesting.
Drama.
Will this go to 5? Because obviously Ben has been going to 5 so frequently during this tournament. For Sinner, this is a great win. I think he's been playing some pretty good tennis. He's had a pretty tough draw, I'd say. The Berrettini in round 2.
Yeah, difficult.
The Berrettini match in round 2, I should say. It's not known as the Berrettini.
The Berrettini.
Yeah, as a strange
I
one.
like that.
Maybe we'll do that from now on. But he got the job done, and I think that it's going to be a very interesting quarterfinal. I think we're talking about how wide open it is on the women's side of things. I think it's a pretty stacked half here. Most of the seeds have got through to the stage that were forecast for this, and the player who wasn't forecast for this is actually probably the most informed grass court player at the moment in Tommy Paul. So it's going to be very hard to escape that section and kind of get a place in the final. But I mean, around the grounds, we saw that Tommy Paul won, and we do have a few matches around the grounds tomorrow, but we do have an order of play, Kim, don't we?
We do indeed. So starting up for day 8, we go into the second week. We've got on centre court opening up.
Can't believe it's day 8.
I know.
Already.
Are you absolutely exhausted, Chris? Because you're basically living at Wimbledon.
I am living here pretty much.
Because you go home really
well, you're
late,
actually
you get
living
here
with
quite
me
early.
tonight, Kim. You're actually coming to stay.
Yes, I'm staying at your Airbnb.
Yeah, you
How
are.
very nice.
Yeah, so you can see just how close I am living. That's actually the ABBA party.
That's your Airbnb.
That's my Airbnb. It's a bit noisy, but like it is comfy.
Oh, you didn't tell me. I need to bring my earplugs. Yeah, it was all right. I like ABBA, so you're fine.
Okay, good.
But we do have Raducanu opening up against Kalinskaya, first up on centre court tomorrow. She is followed by Taylor Fritz against Sasha Zverev.
I think there'll be some aces in that one.
Yeah, and then we've got Holger Rune against Novak Djokovic. And then court 1, we've got Arthur Fils against Alex de Minaur. Followed by Putintseva against Ostapenko. I think that's going to be a bit feisty.
Exactly.
And then last but not least, Danielle Collins against Barbora Krejcikova. So, and not forgetting, we do have on court 2.
Yes.
It's shown there's always a few matches at the 4th round stage that are relegated to court 2. We have Musetti against Pericard, and then Svitolina Wong. So,
Svitolina on court 2 for a 4th round match is a bit surprising.
I know, plenty of great names in action. Let's do some predictions, Chris.
Right.
So centre court, Raducanu, Kalinskaya. What do you think?
Well, I think Raducanu is probably the favourite for the title now. As long as that doesn't affect her too much, I think she's going to come through this one.
She's the only... Well, I was going to say, she's not the only Grand Slam champion left, because we do have Krejcikova. But obviously only former Wimbledon champion.
Yes, indeed.
But yes.
And Ostapenko,
of course.
We're just making up stats.
Yeah, I know. So you think Raducanu in...
Probably 2.
2, yeah. I think Kalinskaya, she's had a great season, but she's still
a little bit injury prone at times.
And
I think this stage, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fritz Zverev.
I would love it if Fritz won. I really am enjoying his matches. I really enjoyed the match out on court 2 yesterday evening. Zverev played very well against Norrie though, so I probably think that Zverev might edge it. This one could go to 5. I'd be fascinated to see how it goes. But what do you think?
I think Zverev in 4, maybe, yeah.
We're both going Zverev though.
Yeah. And then Rune Djokovic. Are we upset alert?
I'm going to go Holger because I don't think Djokovic is right yet. I really don't. And I think this might come a bit too soon in the contest because Holger and him, they've got history. And Holger has got a point to prove, and this is a Djokovic who is not playing like the Djokovic who's won 7 times here. It's a very different Djokovic, so let's see.
I think Rune's been going under the radar here as well.
He's been on court 18
the
whole
exactly.
time, and then got moved to court 1, but he's never made it to centre, and he does love a big stage.
He does. I'm still going to go for Djokovic in like 4 sets.
True to your predictions.
And that's just, because I'm still going... Oh, there's some... Oh, it's Whitney Houston now playing. Sorry, they've moved away from ABBA, so I think there's just a general celebration going on somewhere in Wimbledon. And then court 1, are we predicting here? Fils, de Minaur?
I think de Minaur's going to win that one, probably in straight sets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Putintseva, Ostapenko?
I think it's hard to back up a big win, so I'm going to go for Ostapenko in that one.
Yeah, and Collins Krejcikova.
I love
DC.
You
like Krejcikova though as well. You
I
often
do.
predict
I do like
her.
Krejcikova, but
Yeah.
I can't believe in her in this one. I've got to go for the Collins story on the final year. It's too good, and I want to go to a Collins press conference because they have been so fun this week.
Might get another bag check.
Another bag check.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll bring my bag and you can check
can
that
compare
out.
Notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listeners, we hope that you've enjoyed our latest episode of the Tennis Weekly podcast. We'll be back tomorrow, day 8 of the championships, to bring you all of
us
the
will
action.
be back.
Joel will be back. Yeah, he'll be back, and
Rested.
So have all 3 of us. Yeah, hopefully he'll be rested. Hopefully he's finally recovered from the Andy Murray retirement. You know, because he was emotional the last time I saw him.
Yeah, it's a bit like players after Wimbledon. He does actually need a holiday.
Yeah, a rest after all of that. But listeners, remember to subscribe to us to stay up to date on all the action to come still from Wimbledon. We have 1 week to go, so lots to come. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcasting platforms out there. And if you like what you're hearing, then make sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
And do also follow us on social media. We are posting clips daily, our little predictions. You'll find out who Kim and I are backing for the women's title. We're posting that this evening, and that will be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and X. And the handle for all of those is Tennis Weekly Pod. You can purchase our lovely merch that we have been sporting all around Wimbledon. That's at TikTok. That's not at TikTok at all. That's at Etsy. Well, there is a TikTok shop, but it's at etsy.com/shop/Tennis Weekly Podcast. You can email the show tennisweeklypod@gmail.com, or do check out our website, tennisweekly.co.uk.
And as always, we'll be back tomorrow from Wimbledon. And yeah,
from the roof.
Wimbledon HQ, yeah, not
Wimbledon
Tennis
HQ,
Weekly
yes.
HQ. From the roof. Maybe we'll be on the lower roof tomorrow. I'm not sure, but it is very nice up here.
It's nice but cold.
Yes, it is a bit chilly. But we're back for our day 8 catch up. So we hope you can join us for that. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from Chris.
Etsy. Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. We'll see you again soon.